Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's a best selling author and a former business person of the year, no other than Miss Marnie Beauchamp. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Marnie, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. So obviously, as you said, I am a published author. I published my first book last year, which has been incredible. It's a great experience and something I've wanted to do for a very long time. Prior to that, I have been a business person since my 20s. I bought my first business in my 20s, and I'm up to about my fifth business now, I think, and counting. And as I said, I've been through the brink of losing everything, having to completely start all over again and rebuild my life. And just did it bigger and better next time around. The next business was incredibly successful. And as you said, I became business leader of the year and we won overall business of the year, as well as some industry awards.
Miss Marnie Beauchamp, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. And what is the central theme of Unread Pages, and how does it address to the struggles behind success?
So the central theme is really about just not giving up, no matter what happens to us in life. The decisions we make after the adversities and the trauma and all of the hard things are what really defines us. So it's, we basically, I look at life as a perception, a choice that we get to make. We get to choose the decisions we make, how we react in situations, and our future basically depends on us. So the reason I wrote the book was because I've been through quite a bit adversity wise in my life and gone from pretty much having everything after working very hard for it to losing the lot and going through some pretty big catastrophic life events at the same time. So within the space of just over 12 months, I went through financial ruin due to a court case when I sold my first business. I lost my dad very suddenly at 58, who was probably one of the most important people in my life at the time, besides my two little daughters. And I also went through a divorce when my girls were 3 and 5. So having to pick up the pieces and start all over again at that point was pretty difficult. But I think that, for me, the more adversity, the more hardship and the more challenges that we face, the stronger we are. And I look at all of those things now not as trauma or hardship. I look at those as lessons and learning. And that's essentially what enabled me to rebuild much stronger than ever before, because they were all things that I use as foundations. They were the things that taught me what not to do next time. and yeah,
You need to learn from your mistake. Mistake make it
yeah,
perfect, as they said. So,
absolutely.
Miss Marnie, how does the book define silent struggles, and why are they often overlooked?
Because I think as business people and high achievers and a lot of people that are, essentially successful in the eye of the public, just constantly go through hard times. There's always things happening. It's never smooth sailing. It's literally every single day something is going to come up which is going to challenge you, and people don't see that. So I know from my journey, people just saw me as this successful businesswoman, and people would say to me all the time, I could never do what you do, and I wish I could be like you or do those things, and they don't actually realize what goes on behind the scenes. So even writing my book, a lot of people that knew me and my journey and clients and things like that, and even staff members over the years, had no idea of a lot of the stuff that was happening behind the scenes. And so it was a way for me to, inspire and empower others by saying, I was able to achieve all of these things whilst still going through this stuff. So Yeah, that's why I called it the silent struggles, because it's stuff that we don't talk about enough, I don't think, what you have to go through to get to that success.
Definitely. What role does vulnerability play in the journey to success according to Unread Pages?
Gosh, so vulnerability, that's something that we all feel. And for me, it just got exposed. My vulnerable side had been something that I had pretty much just quashed and put on this mask of confidence. You know, for me, wearing nice clothes and putting makeup on and doing my hair and all that sort of thing was like my little bit of a mask of confidence. But when all these things happen to you and you just keep getting knocked down and knocked down and knocked down, then it's just a natural thing for that vulnerable side to come out. And when you expose yourself on that level, it's it's hard at the time, but I think it's like a rebirth. I think it just opens up a whole new level of understanding and compassion and empathy, not from other people, but for ourselves. I think when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and to actually accept and lead into all of the emotions and the stuff that happens to you, rather than trying to hold it down and block it, which I feel like just manifests in horrible things in your body. I think by being vulnerable, you allow yourself to start to grow again.
How does you, oh no, I mean, how did you represent a personal stories or example to illustrate the hidden challenges of success?
How do I what? Sorry. Can you please repeat that?
How did you
Yeah.
use personal stories or examples to illustrate the hidden challenges of success?
Yeah. Good question. So basically, I shared with very raw honesty some of the things that happened to me, because it wasn't all business related. And I think people go through a lot of personal stuff again, that there's so many different elements that affect people, and that's all intertwined with business and our ability to function and work and to actually succeed in things. Because when you're going through personal stuff, obviously it's going to affect the way you show up every day. So by me sharing some of the hardships and the things that happen, so some of the examples in my book for me was, I had a stalker that was a really bad stalker, and that was a pretty scary time. I was constantly looking over my shoulder. I had to never leave my daughters alone. I couldn't function properly as a real estate agent because I wasn't allowed to be by myself anywhere. I had to rethink. I had 20 beautiful female staff members. I had to completely shift our whole protocol around safety and all of that sort of thing. So a lot of people didn't even know that was all happening behind the scenes. And there's been a lot of people who have experienced that sort of thing. And there's been some other illnesses and things for me. And again, I just think that by sharing my stories actually helps me connect with other people that are going through those hardships. And it's not all business. It's a lot of personal stuff as well. And by sharing my ways of getting over it and facing it, and also proving to everybody that I understand what they're going through, because I've been through stuff like that too, and actually showing them that that I'm a perfect example about how you can rebuild your life after those things.
Very well said, Miss Marie. Very well said. And what are some common obstacles individuals face on their path to success?
Yeah, there's a lot of obstacles, as I said, that I mean, life's full of obstacles, right? Like, I just think that everybody is constantly, coming up with things these days that are making things more difficult, because with technology and social media and all that sort of stuff, everybody thinks, I think that's the other thing for me, is that everybody thinks that there's this perfect world out there, and this road to success is something that's, pretty much smooth sailing, but it's not. There's always going to be challenges. And the way I look at it is our journey is very similar to a roadmap. when you look at going somewhere, you obviously put in your final destination, but then you've got all these different routes that you can get there. It's not a straight line. You know, you've got to turn corners, you've got to decide which path to take or which road to take, where to turn, where to stop. So for me, obstacles are like that. They're basically little things that pop up on your journey to your final destination. And so it's just a matter of just constantly moving forward. I mean, to me, you only fail at anything if you give up, if you stop. And if you let an obstacle stop you, then basically that's the only time you're going to fail.
So, how does the book explore the impact of failure and setbacks on personal growth?
So, as I said before, I look at failure as a lesson. And so, in a way, these days, I actually seek out failure, because if I'm thinking about doing something new or I want to build something different and move in a different direction, I need to know the things that are not going to work out early on, rather than them happening later. So I don't look at failure as a negative at all. I think that we learn so much more from the failures in our lives than we'll ever learn from the successes, and it builds resilience and strength. So in the book, I share the failures essentially, in the true definition of the word, I guess. But I also talk about how a lot of people, their fear of failure and their self-doubt literally gets in the way of their dreams and their goals, because it is an inhibitor of our goals and our dreams. You know, if you're scared of failing, or you're scared, that causes that self-doubt in you, then you're not going to take those steps to follow your path and what you truly want to do. So for me, by sharing in the book the fact that all these things happened to me, and some I had absolutely no control over, but I was still able to pick up the pieces and start again. It's not fatal. And so that is probably what I'm trying to get out there the most, is that the worst thing you can do is look back in your life and have regrets. So if you let self-doubt and fear of failure get in the way, you're always going to look back and think, I wish I did this, or I wish I tried that. And the worst that can happen is that it doesn't work out. And for me, like, I've lost everything. I've been sitting in the park with my daughters with $1.76 in my bank account. I couldn't even buy them an ice cream. That's how bad it got for me. I had literally nothing, and I still had hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to repay over the next 5 years. I could have declared bankruptcy. I could have put my company into liquidation and, had a clean slate and started again. But I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to fight back and not have anybody else suffer from the same loss. And so I just look at the fact that if I can do that as a single mum with a 3 and a 5-year-old, then anyone can do it. It's the only thing holding any of us back is ourselves. We're literally our only limitation in life. So my book is trying to show people to
Yes.
learn from my mistakes, and know that if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Why not? Failure is the process to make you better, excellent in the future, people. So don't be afraid to commit failure.
Absolutely.
All successful people failed many times, 100 times. So they
Hmm.
learn from their failures and they become more excellent. So, Ms.
Yes.
Marnie, what role do self doubt and imposter syndrome play in the story shared in the book?
Yeah, a lot. So obviously self-doubt was something that I definitely had to fight against after that happened with the court case, because I'd worked so hard and I'd been very successful with that first business, and I had put, everything I had into it, and then it was gone within the space of 6 months. So obviously self-doubt was rampant, and my inner voice was saying to me constantly, you failed, it's going to happen again. Like, it didn't work the first time, why would it work next time? All that kind of stuff was just this constant narrative in my head. You're not good enough. That was another one. Clearly, you're not good enough. You shouldn't be a business owner. And I, every day, I just had to make the decision as to whether I was going to listen to that, or whether I was going to, fight back against it and prove it wrong. And it took me about 5 years to repay all the debt. And in 5 years, then after that, I went into business again. So obviously, while self-doubt is essentially there as a form of protection, it's there to stop us from taking risks that are going to put us into hurtful or, situations that could harm us. We have the opportunity to control it. It doesn't control us. So you have the ability to override that and say, well, self-doubt saying, what if it doesn't work? All you have to do is say, what if it does? And that little bit of belief and hope will literally shift your thinking. And once you start to take those little steps towards overcoming the self-doubt, your narrative in your head starts to change, because every little step that you take moving forward and following a path that you want to follow, then you're literally rewriting the narrative and proving to yourself that you actually can do it. And so even some days I would actually have to get up and look in the mirror and say to myself, yes, I can, and I will. Because it's just
Yes.
if you want to achieve anything, you have to change it. If you don't change it, nothing's going to change, right?
Yes, you can. As they said, try and try until you succeed. And most
That's it.
people are successful, they always take a risk.
Life's about risks.
Yes. So, Miss Marnie, how does the book address societal pressure and expectation in the pursuit of success?
Yeah, I think again, there's a lot of, for me, my businesses were in a fairly small town, so everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows you when you're in business and stuff like that. So I felt there was a lot of pressure there, and when the business sale went through and I ended up in court and all that kind of thing, I I felt like even more of a failure, like I'd let my family and everybody down, because everybody knew about it. And it's just that feeling of overwhelm. And I think as a woman as well, when I first started in my industry in this area, I was the only female. There weren't many female real estate business owners in that time either. So yeah, I felt there was a lot of societal pressure around that. For me, wanting to be in business when I had, I bought my first business when I had a newborn and a 2-year-old, and so in those days, yeah, there was a lot of, maybe a bit of negativity and that sort of thing, and I didn't have time to sit and chat to the mums at the school when I dropped the kids off and all that sort of stuff. So there was a little bit of judgment around, me running in and out and not really talking and getting involved in that sort of thing. But I think if you really, you really want to do something and achieve something in life, you just have to let all that stuff go, because it doesn't really matter what people think of you or what they say. And that was one thing my dad really ingrained in me, was that you're never going to be able to control what people say or think or do to you. So why would it let it worry you? Because at the end of the day, you're a good person, you're working hard for a purpose, and all that matters is your happiness and the happiness of those who love you. So yeah, I think you just got to cut the noise if there's any societal pressure.
Definitely, people don't mind other people say about you, because at the end, you're the one who suffered to it. Let
That's
it
right. It doesn't
go.
hurt them, does it? It just
Yeah.
hurts you worrying about it.
Yes. Yes. Don't let it go what they say about you. Prove to
Hmm.
them they are better than
Yeah.
them.
That's
What?
exactly right. Yeah, just the proof's in the pudding, as they say.
Yes. So, Miss Marnie, what strategies did you recommend for building resilience in the face of challenges?
I think the biggest way that you can build resilience is just to keep moving forward through them, because again, you know, resilience isn't something that you can just click your fingers and you're resilient. Resilient comes from the hard times. So I think that we, unfortunately, a lot of the time, people, when they look back at difficulties and stuff that's happened in their lives that hasn't gone to plan, they look at the feelings and the emotions that they were experiencing then. And so every time you look back at that, it takes you back into that moment and you're literally reliving it. So for me, and the way that I think I've really built up the resilience that I have nowadays, is that I process it, I feel into it, I let it go by making sure that I acknowledge what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and making the conscious decision that I'm actually going to now release it. So when I do look back now, instead of looking back and going to the hard times, I look at the strength that I got out of it. I look at the fact that it was incredibly difficult at the time, but I got through it. And so for me, building resilience is all about looking backwards at all of the hardships and the times where you didn't think you would get through something, or that you didn't think you would be able to overcome some obstacle or some adversity, and then realize that you did, and that you are capable of anything, and it doesn't matter what hits you, you just got to get back up. And then every time you do that, that resilience will just keep growing and growing, and you'll just get stronger and stronger, and things will, you'll just learn to deflect things that would normally really upset you or hurt you.
So, how does the book discuss the importance of maintaining mental health during the pursuit of success?
Yeah, look, I obviously have had a lot of difficult times, and that 1 year was incredibly difficult for me, mental health wise, because it was just like I just kept getting knocked down every time. Every time I started to like pick up the pieces, and it was just my friend likened it to a series of waves. Like I got hit by a wave, and I got up, and then I got hit by a bigger one, and I got up, and I got hit by a tidal wave, and I still managed to get up. But I think when it comes to success and business and mental health and stuff like that, you just have to understand that there is going to be adversity, there's going to be hard times, and things are not, there is absolutely no way things are always going to go to plan. So you just have to prepare yourself for them and just roll with them. And I've sort of started to learn over the years that when I get really anxious, or I start to really stress and about things, what I'm doing is I'm either living in the past, because I'm going back to stages of trauma where that self-doubt might have come in. So if I'm starting something new, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to get really anxious because I'm thinking about the times that didn't work, or I don't want to ever be in that financial situation again, ever. So there's all that aspect of it. And then if I'm not doing that, I'm either predicting the future, so I'm looking forward and thinking, well, maybe this could happen, or maybe that could happen, or what if this doesn't work? Whereas if I stay in the moment and I just focus strongly on what I'm doing right now, and live, that saying, live in the present. Essentially, it's just like, okay, today's today. I'm never promised tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. So what is it that I need to do today? And I just focus on my goals, my plans, all the things I want to do. I find that helps so much with my mental health. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, spend so much time looking back, which we can't change the past. So when you're looking back, it's not helpful whatsoever, unless you're looking back at the strength that you got from situations that you didn't think you'd ever be able to overcome. And don't worry about the future. We don't know what the future is going to hold. We can't predict it. So like for me, and obviously I'm not a therapist, but I've found since I started to let go of the past and stop trying to think or worry about what might happen in the future, my mental health has just been amazing, like so much better, and I'm so much calmer and more confident.
Definitely, people, let it go, and no worries.
Yeah, you can't change either. You can't
Yeah.
do, you just got to just be now. Now's the only thing we've got to control, isn't it?
Live with the fullest. Okay, so Miss Marnie, what would be your advice for those people out there suffering from setbacks or worries, or they don't let it go, but something happened to them?
So my biggest advice is that if you aren't able to let go of something, often it's because you just keep reliving it and focusing, and so that obviously brings back all of those negative emotions, as we said. So I have really had to do a lot of work on myself to let go of all those things, and to understand that my life is my choice, and I don't want to live like that. if we keep reliving, or we're living in this waking up feeling anxiety and dread over all these things that we didn't do or did do, or something that could happen, then we're pretty much choosing that, because we're not making the choice to change our thoughts or to do something differently. So, I choose to do things differently. I don't want to live in those moments anymore. And some of them have been really hard moments, losing my dad and all that sort of thing. And my mum, I lost my mum not long after that too. But I know that I want to live a full and good life. They died young. I don't want to look back and have any regrets. So I think, to let things go, you have to make a conscious decision that you're going to release those emotions and not focus on it anymore. And once you make that decision, then it's like a weight's been lifted. I saw this little video meme on social recently, and it just was so true, and it resonated so much. And they were talking about the weight of anxiety, worrying about the future, reliving the past. And it was this person going about their day with this another person or thing hanging on top of them. And so they were trying to get up and walk around. They were trying to eat their breakfast with this person hanging over them. And that's what it's like. It's almost like this physical weight is just holding you down when you're trying to do anything. So you have to make that decision to just release it, push it off, and just be free. And every day is a new day. There is nothing stopping anybody from starting again today.
Yes, start a new day, people. So, Ms. Marnie, what will be your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Ooh. So my short-term goal is to have a little bit more balance in my life. I've got a little grandson now and another on the way. So I want to be able to spend more time with the family. So it's getting a lot of stuff. For me, it's getting a lot of my business stuff into a format that's going to be a little bit more easy to manage, so that I can step back a little bit. Long-term goals, I just want to, yeah, I think long-term goals for me are just to continue what I'm doing, but to build a space. Like, I love traveling. Traveling is my thing, and so I would love to be able to build a business online, so transfer all my stuff online so that I can work from anywhere in the world,
That'd
be
be
wherever I want to be, and still,
awesome.
yeah.
That'd be awesome, Miss Marnie. Looking forward for your goals. So, to sum up our discussion, how can readers apply the lessons from the book to their own lives and goals?
I would just say that you have to remember and understand that your life is your choice. I'm really passionate about that, because, life is all about perception, and we get to choose how we react. Even feelings in situations that don't go well, or hardship and whatever, our feelings don't have to control us. Our feelings are actually things. They're not part of us. So we can make that decision that, okay, that was hard and that hurt. But it's time to move on, because you can choose to have a better life, but you have to actually take action on it, and you have to make sure that you're the one that's constantly moving forward, because nobody else can do it for you. You're in control of your own happiness, you're in control of your own energy, you're in control of every action that you do every single day. And so it's, for me, it's just never about relying on somebody else for anything. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that we can't expect other people to bring us that sort of stuff. It has to come from within.
Yes, within people. So, Miss Marnie Bochan, thank you so much for empowering us and empowering people all over the world, hoping for more empowering books to come. So, Miss
Yes.
Marnie, can you please invite our listeners to support your unread pages?
Yes, that would be amazing. So you can buy the book. It's in paperback, hardcover, and Audible as well. So unread pages.
Yes, people, let's support Marnie Beauchamp, because if we support her, as I said, more empowering books to come.
Yes,
So,
totally.
yes, so Miss Marnie, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Miss Marnie, you are most welcome to come back. Shout out